Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are looking at the Draftkings and Fanduel NBA slate for Saturday, October 29th. We have a 6-game slate today. Let's go ahead and get started. Good day yesterday for NBA. Draftkings hit 270.5, cashed in double-ups and some tournaments for third straight day. Fanduel hit 309.1, the hit in both cash and GPPs. Posted some updates on the website once Anthony Davis got rolled out, and it ended up working out. Jakob Poeltl's guy that once again crushed it, almost 50. Simons had over 50. Those two carried us. So let's go ahead and get into today. You can check out the website if you want to join, dfsprocess.net, Twitter for updates at the DFS Process. I'll have an NFL video out shortly after this or this afternoon. Let's go ahead and get started with this one. A couple of guys above 10K, except looks like Ja Morant's not going to play today. He's doubtful heading into this game with a non-COVID illness. So that's going to make the Grizzlies look pretty appealing against the Jazz. You have Luka Doncic in a great matchup against the Thunder. You're definitely gonna have some value to fit him in if you wanted to. The price tag continues to rise after he was barely above 10K in the first game, which we all knew was a mistake, and it was just gonna continue to go up. But 12.5 is definitely a big price tag. He got it done last game, which was in overtime, so helped him get to almost 85 fantasy points. Other guys that look pretty good are Steph Curry, who's cheap, $9,800, going up against the Hornets, which is an excellent matchup. We saw what Orlando did to them last night. Trae Young had a great game last night. It's back-to-back for some of these teams. Going into Milwaukee, traveling a bit. Not sure if I'll get to Trae Young. The price tag is still pretty high for my liking. We saw no Embiid last night, but it was a Tyrese Maxey show. James Harden struggled. And I assume Embiid will be back today. He'll probably just holding me out for one game on a back-to-back. DeJounte Murray's interesting because his production has come down a bit after the first two games. First couple of games, averaged 10 assists per game. The last three, he's averaging barely above 6. 2 games with assists of just 5. So it's kind of been Trae Young handling the ball more, and Murray's playing off ball a bit more. So the price tag is a bit too high, I'd say, at 94. I'd rather get to SGA for sure at $9,300. He had a good game. He's been pretty solid every single game that he's played. He started the second half on the bench last game because of foul trouble, so that hurt his rhythm a bit. Other options are definitely Tyrese Halliburton has been Mr. Consistency the first 6 games of the season. Hasn't dropped under 40 fantasy points. He's dropped 10 plus assists in 5 straight games. Just been an absolute baller in that category. Doesn't even take a ton of shots, but he's been ultra efficient, shooting 43% from 3, 93% from the free throw line. I mean, this is the type of guy you like to roster. So that's this price tag. He's definitely in firm consideration in all GPPs and cash games. Like him more than Drew Holiday. Simmons is just an automatic fade every single night. Airballing a layup. Couldn't get any worse for Simmons at this point. Jordan Clarkson, he had a tough game last night. Only 22 fantasy points. Just shot 1 of 10. If he has that sort of shooting night, it's going to be a struggle, but at least he contributed a little bit in some other categories. The minutes are still high, and it was a blowout for much of the game against Denver, so we saw their starters play less minutes, and knowing that there's a back-to-back tonight with them being at home and against Memphis, who's probably going to be missing Ja Morant, it's a good spot for them to possibly get a win. You have Jordan Poole 59, and you have Tyrese Maxey at 57. I mean, Maxey couldn't have started the game any hotter last night. Made his first 6 3-pointers, made his first at least 9 field goals. He was that at halftime. Finished with 44 real-life points, 66 fantasy points. After being kind of not really that involved in the first 4 games, he's really been more assertive and taken 20-plus shots the last 2 games, and the price tag is really affordable. So I like Poole a little bit, but you can get Maxey for a guy that's going to play 10 to 15, probably 10 minutes more than what Jordan Poole normally play. You're probably going to see Poole be the 27, 28-minute range off the bench, whereas Maxey can play over 35 to 40 plus, and Doc Rivers loves to give Maxey monstrous minutes, so you got to lean Maxey over Jordan Poole, got to lean Maxey over Trey Mann. One guy you're probably going to start your lineup with is Tyus Jones, $4,700. He's going to get the start in place of Ja Morant. We saw him do that a lot whenever Ja Morant's missed last year, and he was awesome in those games. He can give you assists, hit some shots, give you good defense, and the price tag is very favorable at 47. Over at shooting guard, Desmond Bane, 74, is another guy that's going to benefit without Ja Morant. We saw him Struggled the first couple of games with the shooting, but last two he's been more than great. 57 and 47 fantasy points, hitting 70+% of threes. That's going to go down, but still, he's going to take more shots with that Ja Morant. He can get you some ball handling, some assists, some rebounds, maybe a defensive stat here and there. So you expect him to take the most shots on the team, unless Dillon Brooks has other ideas, but hopefully he doesn't. So those two, great options, with Ja Morant looking like he's not going to play. Other picks would be Jordan Clarkson at 62 to do like a bring back in that game. You could even go with Brooks if you wanted to at 51. It's pretty cheap. And then I love Buddy Hield at 55. You can play him at small forward, which is awesome. Shooting guard small forward eligibility for a guy that's playing 30+ minutes a night in close games. He's also, just like Desmond Bane, he's been on fire with his shooting, so hopefully that continues. It's a fine matchup against the Brooklyn Nets. They play awful defense, giving up almost averaging over 122 points per game given up so far this year. And Buddy Hield is just a guy that can catch fire from three-point land and give you 40-point upside, if not 50-point upside, if he's really knocking down his shots. Other options would be Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench at 47. Look to possibly, and I would look to him more than, possibly Aaron Wiggins again at 42. Small forward, have Buddy Hield in here. You have DeRozan at 86. That price tag looks decent, but you expect Levine to be back after sitting last night. Andrew Wiggins also has played pretty well this year. He's been consistent, rebounding at a great clip, scoring at a good clip, and just doing his thing on the defensive end. With every game, he has at least 2 stocks. Lauri Markkanen, $6,900. He only played 26 minutes last night, but he was one of the few Jazz players to step up. And with them just having nobody to rebound the ball besides Vanderbilt, Olynyk has always been one of the worst rebounding centers. He's averaging like 4 rebounds per game starting at center. It's been Markkanen. We're getting a big uptick in his rebounding opportunities. Though Markkanen shooting 3 at a decent clip. You can do a little bit better, only 28% so far this year, but the price tag is still favorable for a guy that gives you 55 point upside, and the matchup is going to be good. It's going to be a good one against the Grizzlies. So if you're doing a bring back, you can put in Markkanen. He'd be my favorite option. Other option in power forward would be Draymond Green at 57. And value-wise, you can go to like Jalen McDaniels. And, main guys I'm looking at there. Last but not least, over at center, top end would be Giannis if you wanted to. The Bucks are still undefeated this year. Going up against the Hawks at home. He played 39 minutes last night, so it's could be a concern with his minutes on a back-to-back. We could see him rest. We know Budenholzer likes to do stuff like that, so keep an eye on it. Other options would be Collins at 66. Looks pretty good at that price tag. Draymond at 57. But I got to go Miles Turner at 55. Didn't miss a beat in the second game back after missing about the first 4 or 5 games of the season. Finished with 55 points last night. Was hot from 3, made all 10 free throws, was aggressive. He's also a big-time block guy, averaging 4.5 blocks in the first 2 games. The matchup is excellent against the Brooklyn Nets with a team that does like to drive a lot in the paint. So, love Turner at 55. That price tag is ridiculous. So, that's what I got. Not a great number here. 66.6 left for your last 3 spots, but that's what I'm looking at for DraftKings. Let's go over to FanDuel. All right, so over on FanDuel, most expensive guy at point guard is no surprise Luka Doncic, though he's 11.6 compared to 12.5 on DraftKings, so looks a lot better on FanDuel. You're not going to have Ja Morant. SGA looks fine, but his price tag is also expensive on FanDuel at 10K. You have a lot of other guys cheaper by a lot, like Tyrese Halliburton at only 84, and that price tag is awesome. Maxey is 72. I'd like to get him on DraftKings instead. You have Poole still at 59. That looks reasonable. But Tyus Jones still going to be the guy that you want to start with on both sides. Shooting guards doing a similar build with Tyus Jones, and I'm going to plug in Desmond Bane at 76. Just can give you 50-point upside with the amount of shots he'll take, and hopefully he can get some peripheral stats like he's been in the last few games. Other options would be Clarkson and Kelly Oubre. Clarkson's price tag has come up a little bit on FanDuel. Value-wise, we'll get to Buddy Hield on at small forward, but he looks awesome at that price tag. You can consider Dillon Brooks at 51. Small forward, a little bit worried about the minutes on Giannis on a back-to-back. You can go to Durant for 2K less, but haven't been playing Durant at all, and it's been working out Markkanen 74. He looks fine, but he looks a little bit better on DraftKings. And then you have this 5 to 6K range with Tobias, but he healed. Klay Thompson, I'd rather go to rank him, would be healed Thompson than Tobias. 4K range, not much really. Finney Smith, but there's probably some better options in the 5K range. Power forward, value-wise, Miles Turner on both sites looks pretty good. 64s, still a little underpriced on FanDuel given the role this year for him, given the fact that FanDuel get those extra points for blocks and steals, and that's what he's known for. Probably end up going to Draymond. He's only 58. We saw him get to 30 minutes last game, so that's a good sign. The matchup is excellent against the Hornets. And then at center, there's not a ton of great options besides Embiid. He's like the only pay up here. So I'll put in Miles Turner and hope that he has another big game with the blocks. Can get you at least 30 fantasy points, if not 35, 40. That's it for the video. Feel pretty good about this slate. It's pretty easy right now. Hopefully we get some... We don't really even need more news and more value, but just getting some clarity on the Embiid and Levine and some other guys' news. But that's what I got. Stay tuned for the football video. Best of luck tonight, and I'll see you all next time.